Hello and welcome back to the Jazz Ranch. I'm your alter dominant ego man. You can call him your Ego if you like. And I'm here, I'm back, haunting you and haunting the KH. And you know, it's winter time now, and it's been a very dry season and also rather warm, so all the mice have come in. They're like hanging out in the rafters and in the walls and up in the ceilings and so on. So we had leaks in our system and so on. So anyway, I had to put a whole bunch of mouse traps out. You know who I caught? I didn't catch one mouse. I caught the KH though. He stepped in a few of them. One of them was dragging around on his foot, the one that sticks on your foot. Anyway, we got two cats and they can't do anything about it. What are we gonna do? Oh, KH didn't want me to tell you that story. Here he comes. Look out. Watch out. Hello, welcome back to the Jazz Ranch. I'm glad you joined me. I'm sorry about the alter dominant ego man. You know, he was vacationing in Newark, New Jersey, and he's come back and he's haunting us. But anyway, what he told you was true. We have been invaded by mice, but you know, it's winter time, it's been warm out, and so on, a dry season and so on. So the mice are here and we're trying to tolerate them, and I did get caught in one of the traps myself. But it's work in progress, and we're working on that, and I'm welcoming you back. I have a new video for you this evening, and it was a request, a special request from a subscriber to show what do I do in the case of I have 4 measures of just one chord, or 8 measures of just one chord. What do I do to make it interesting? What can I do with just 4 measures of one chord? So I'm going to show you some ideas that I have using a progression over just one chord. And I'm going to apply it to a song, a great jazz standard called I'll Remember April. So here we go now with I'll Remember April. Here we have a lead sheet for the song I'll Remember April. It comes from the Colorado book. It's a fake book. You can see the first 4 measures here are all G major, and the next 4 measures are all G minor. So that's 8 measures of G. And the same thing for the real book. This is the real book, another fake book, and it has first 4 measures G major 7, G6, next 4 measures G minor 7, G minor 6. So that's 8 measures of G. What can we do with this? Let's look at some possible solutions to make this more interesting. So if we play this song just from the point of view of the lead sheet we looked at, with just the G major for the first 4 measures, it will sound like this. That's pretty boring, right? We could put a 6 in there. That's a little better than a G minor. But let's look at something else. Let's look at the idea of like a basic principle of jazz harmony, and that is that any chord can be approached by its related 5 chord. So in G major it would be a D7. In other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So D7 now, we can approach the G from that. So we can start out with the G. Then right here we can put the 5 chord in. So now once we put the 5 in, we can put the 2 in front of that. We can approach the 5 chord with its related 5, which would be an A7. Or we can change it to A minor, which now makes it a 2-5-1 into G, like this. You see that? 2, 5, 1, and then 5 again, or now minor. There's the 1, now here's its 5. Okay, so that's the 2-5-1 approach now. That you can always put a 5 in there where you want to approach another chord, so it gives you a little bit more of movement than you would have just sitting on that one note of the G. Let's look at another example. The next thing to understand is the idea of what I call scale tone sevenths. Now that just means you have, in the key of G, you have this scale. If we harmonize it in thirds, it's like that. Harmonize it in chords, it's like this. And then in sevenths, like this. So those are the chords that fit the scale that we're in now. So I can use those chords to harmonize this song, this melody. I can use the chords that fit the scale of G. So if I'm just on G for one measure, I can begin to now add variation by adding some of these other chords. So I can go the 1 chord for the first measure like this, put the 2 chord in for the next measure, and then the 3 chord for the third measure, then the 2 chord, back to the 1 chord. So I've created this little stepwise movement of 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, you know. Now the minor, I can do the same thing with this, but on this one I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to go minor, then I'm going to move the harmony up like to the 5 to a sharp 5, to a 6, and back to a sharp 5. So I have this. See, that's a little better than doing something like this. Doesn't really, playing up the scale doesn't really work on that particular part of the tune where we're on a G minor, but this does. So you can either ascend that way or it can descend this way, and it'll work for the minor chord. So now we'll look at reharmonizing or revoicing these root position chords in the next step. So now that scale tone 7ths in their root position are sort of getting in the way of the melody, so I can just move them down one inversion. So G will now move down to here. So I'm just taking the top note, putting it on the bottom, revoicing it like that. Then I drop the root and add the 9th. So now I have these voicings: G major 9, A minor 9, and here I'm going to play this as a G major 7 but inverted. In other words, in this first inversion but with the 9th down here. So I have that. Like that. Give it a little more of a jazz feel like this. Now I'm going to do the descending line on the minor here. So there we go. Now again. The next example, I'm going to use broken tenths. Now, those first examples were all block chord type of approach with the melody up here. So now I'm going to go down here and play tenths like this. Like that. Now, there's a variety of ways you can play these, but just for now, I'll show you one way you can do it. That's nice because you have a nice solid bass line going there with a chord, and you got some rhythm going that you don't have in the other way. The other way works best when you have a bass player. If you're playing more solo, this is good. So you can do it like that. You can break them going. So I'm playing a G major there now, A minor here, G chord with a B in the bass, and then I go to a D7, like a D7 with an A in the bass. So now G minor, augmented 5th. Once you get used to this, it's pretty comfortable to play, and you can play with more rhythm. It can be like this. So like that. I want to mention and remind you that these scores are available on my website. In other words, the score for this particular video and many others are available on my website, so you can go there and look at how this is all written out for you. And there's no charge for that. So now the next one is the spread voicings. Now with spread voicing, let's see, we started with block chords and we went to tenths. Now with this spread voicing, I'm going to do 7ths in the left hand and then fill in the harmony here. See, I don't need to put that 3rd there because I have it in the melody. So I'm going to have this sound. So now instead of just staying on a G chord, now we're moving it harmonically up through that scale, those scale tone 7ths, sort of in parallel motion like this. G major, A minor, B minor 7, C major 7, B minor 7, A minor 7. Then I put a C dominant 7 here to approach the B minor. So it's a half-step approach from above, like a tritone substitute concept to the 3 chord, then the 2 chord, and then half step down to an A flat, or you could call it a G sharp, dominant seventh with a sus chord in, the sus4 in it. So you have this. And if I played it in tempo, it'd be. And then again with the minor. I'm using tenths now here for the minor chord. I could do it like this if I wanted to. So that's the spread voicing. The next example is what I call a right-hand chordal technique with the left hand playing a bass line. In this case, it's a left-hand bass ostinato. That just means it's a repeating pattern like this. And you'll see that this song is often performed like this in a Latin style. So this could be either swing, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, Latin style. And then the chord is in the right hand with the melody like. So that's really nice. That's a bass ostinato now. You could play it. You can change the rhythm if you want. Or if it's swing like. Latin is. A couple more examples of things you can do are the locked hands, voicings. In other words, I'm going to voice that in chords now like this. And then I'm going to double that top note. So these move in a locked position like. George Shearing technique. Let's do it. So that's a famous technique that was made popular by George Shearing. Milt Buckner originated it, but George Shearing made it very popular. In fact, this was one of his signature songs, I'll Remember April, so you might want to check that out. We'll move on to one more example. All these techniques that I'm showing you for this particular song, for these first 8 measures, I talked about all these techniques in detail on previous videos. So you want to go to my playlist, go to my channel and click on playlists, and then click on the categories such as locked hands techniques, such as drop 2 voicing, such as, you know, spread voicings or whatever. In other words, all the categories are in there. You can study the specific technique that you're interested in. Now the next one is a what I call it is a drop 2 technique. Now what that means is I'm taking these harmonies like this, I'm harmonizing the melody below in the right hand, below the melody of the harmonies. And I'm taking the second note from the top and I'm putting it into the left hand. So actually in this case it's like that, so like that. So that would be a G there. So I'll go like this. Kind of in a way the prettiest sound. Read. Like that. So again, see, let's look at it. There's some diminished chords in there, see? There's a diminished chord. And here it can be diminished again if you like, and another, there's a diminished chord. Diminished again. So that's a really nice sound, the drop 2. So there you see some different ways you can approach a song that just has one chord for, say, 4 measures or 8 measures or so on, how to vary it with various techniques, using the scale tones, sevenths, using the vamp type of approach, using the left hand tenths approach, harmonizing in the scale, using the spread voicings, and the drop 2 voicings in the locked hand. So you can look up each one of these. The bass ostinato or bass lines. You could use a walking bass line, or a 2-beat bass line with a swing feel or a Latin feel. There's a lot you can do with this. So study each one of these techniques on the specific videos that I talk about them. And I'm going to finish up now by playing the song through and using a variety of these techniques throughout the song. Wrapping up, I just want to wish everyone Happy New Year. Thanks for joining me. I hope you learned something from this, and please write to me. I always love to hear from you, and I always try to write back when you send me a comment. So give me a little bit of time, because I do get a lot of people writing to me, but I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your following and supporting me. So until next time, I will say, stay well, be healthy, have a great year, and swing loose. Bye-bye.